all of you watching us right now, please, 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 this is literally a matter of life and death. Use your voice, use your vote, use your choices. Speak truth to power, like your life and your world, the world depends on it, because it actually does.
Hi everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Planeta G. Estamos unidas.
At Planeta G, we talk about the things you can do in your own home to protect the planet, like recycling all those plastic bags your mommy keeps in her kitchen drawers. But we also talk about the big systemic things. And in celebration of Latinx Heritage Month, we will be tapping into the power of our own community by voting.
Latinx people hold the key to this election. There are more than 32 million Latinx people who are eligible to vote. That's making us the largest ethnic voting bloc in all of US history. That's huge, you guys. And as we all know, this may be the most important election of our entire lifetimes. The 2020 election is critical in setting the stage for the right to a healthy environment and democracy, and a green, just, and peaceful future. Greenpeace recently launched a volunteer organizing program called Greenpeace Unidas. And it is in need of volunteers like you to help us recruit and identify voters. If you speak Spanish and want to speak about the injustices that are happening in your community, please join us in taking action.
Now, Crystal, I've heard people say that they're not really excited about this election. And yeah, I kind of understand that. But really, we cannot sit this one out, you guys. The public health crisis, the climate crisis, racial violence, the economic crisis, we cannot move forward for a more green and just and peaceful future as long as the current destructive forces in the White House. Nosotros, la gente, okay, we have the power to swap out this guy with someone who will actually plan to tackle the climate crisis. And more importantly, someone who can actually respond to the pressures and demands from us, the people in our movements.
70% of Latinx people care deeply about the environment, which is way higher than other Americans. We hold the key to changing the future. So if you need more convincing, we have 10 reasons why you should go out and vote, and why you should convince your family to go out and vote.
To kick us off, we have the wonderful Carolina Guerra, who is a Colombian actress and activist. You've seen her on TNT's Animal Kingdom, Da Vinci's Demons, and the Dominican historical drama Rubirosa. Carolina uses her platform to speak on behalf of the issues she's passionate about, such as climate change, the protection and conservation of our environment, and gender violence and social injustices. Hola, Carolina, welcome.
Hola, Carolina.
Hola, qué lindas, qué emoción. I don't know, are we going to talk in English? Are we going to talk in Spanish? Are we going to do a little bit of both?
Both.
All right, muchas gracias. I am so happy to be here with you guys. Thank you for sharing this space with me. It's very important to be talking about all of these things that we love so much and that especially are so important and so relevant for all of us right now.
All right, so why is it so important for Latinos and Latinas and Latinas to vote this election?
Well, I mean, there's so many reasons. And as I said, there is a huge responsibility because we will ultimately dictate who gets in the office. That's the power we have. But there's also, everything is interconnected. What happens here affects the rest of the world. And that said, I would love to talk about the Paris Agreement and how and why it is so important that we put someone in office, someone that actually cares about the climate crisis, someone that takes that seriously. Right now, President Trump is a climate denier, and we cannot afford, and I'm not just talking about the Latin community, I'm not even talking about just the US. The world cannot afford a leader that does not take the climate crisis and the climate emergency that we're facing seriously. The Paris Agreement that happened in 2015, and nearly 200 countries committed to work together to slash greenhouse gas emissions and solve the climate change through this historical event that happened there. However, President Donald Trump, 2 years in, just decided that he was going to withdraw. We cannot let that happen. So we need to put someone in office that really, really cares about this. And I am from Colombia. I do live in the States. I am not a citizen yet, so I cannot vote. But again, everything is connected. I need to convince everyone around me and to speak about this, because what happens here affects every single place in the world. And it doesn't matter how many countries try. If we don't have the US on board, we are simply not going to make it. So every single one of you that's watching us right now, please think about this. Even if you don't care about politics, if you care about the planet, or if you care about your own life and the life of your family and your well-being, go and vote. This is what it has come to. Literally, these elections are a matter of life and death. As bad as it sounds, that is what we have come to.
Totally. Oh my gosh, you're saying it completely right, Carolina. It's so true. And like the US actually has the capacity and the responsibility not just to rejoin the Paris Agreement, but to do more and fast. We have to move away from fossil fuels and to 100% renewable energy as soon as possible. And we need a leader in the White House who will get us there.
When it comes to the Latinx community, we know that we're being targeted by the Trump administration at this very moment and throughout these last 4 years.
It doesn't only happen here in the States, but I think worldwide, we don't connect the dots. We don't see how climate, like what does it have to do with migration, or what does it have to do with anything? And the truth is, it has to do with absolutely everything, from justice, from racial problems, from migration problems. It's behind it all. So I will just mention a couple things. And I have visited, I go off into the border to Tijuana, and we go and we visit the shelters where people are waiting, asylum seekers basically. And you listen to their stories. A lot of them are farm workers. A lot of them have been affected by like the impact on like the climate, the environmental crisis continues to displace these people. They cannot rely on the usual agricultural work because of droughts, because of hurricanes, because of the aftermath of earthquakes. This is all climate related, so they have to move somewhere else. They don't have any more money, so that creates poverty, and it exacerbates underlying vulnerabilities that already existed. And so the aftermath of this often ends in migration. Like El Salvador, we get a lot of migration from El Salvador, especially here in California. Coffee is huge, and it's in El Salvador, and coffee is especially vulnerable and sensitive to weather variations. This I know because I come from Colombia, and we're huge in coffee. And there is a lot of migration from El Salvador because of that, because the crops are done. They can't rely on those activities anymore. And that breeds other things, as I said before. So it's very sad. And sometimes people think it's just violence, but they don't see what's behind that violence. And a lot of it is due to the climate crisis.
Totally. And I mean, just like you said, we need a president who won't lock children and families in cages for trying to escape climate devastation in their home countries. We need something different.
100%.
The Trump administration has been rolling back protections for LGBTQI people these last 4 years at an unprecedented level. Why do we need to change this upcoming election?
I cannot say this enough. This is about humanity. And a country should protect all of their people, every single one of them. Every single person in America and in the world should have equal rights and equal opportunities for health, for education, for every single thing. This story, I went, again, in the border in Tijuana, I went to this place, this shelter called Las Mariposas. And I think it's one of the hardest things I've had to do. I will remember that as one of the hardest days of my life. And I was only listening. The suffering transgender and people from LGBTQ community go through, the violence that they go through, fleeing from countries in Central and South America, what they have gone through is absolutely heartbreaking. Just to get here and live it all over again. That is not a way to treat people, and that is not something we should be, and American people should be proud of. This is a country that was always a symbol of freedom. And that's not the reality right now. That's not it. And immigration advocates have been warning that the days of America being a beacon of hope for those fleeing from like homophobia and transphobia are over. And we don't need them to warn us. We live that. We see that every single day through the news. And do we want that to become, to continue to be part of our reality? We don't. We need someone with humanity and someone that understands that this country belongs to everyone.
Muchísimas gracias, Carolina. Fue un gusto tenerte acá. Gracias otra vez por toda tu ayuda y la conversación fue fenomenal. Gracias.
Fenomenal, mira, phenomenally Latina.
Eso lo hice a propósito.
Fenomenal. Son ustedes fenomenales. Este espacio, muchísimas gracias. To all of you watching us right now, please, 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 this is literally a matter of life and death. Use your voice. Use your vote. Use your choices. Speak truth to power, like your life and your world, the world depends on it, because it actually does. So if you want to take action, by the way, you can just join Greenpeace and become a volunteer. Y les dejo un beso muy, muy grande. Gracias por escucharme. Gracias por esta invitación. ¡Mua! Vote.
Gracias, Caro.
Oh, me dice piel de gallina. Now, we know that not everyone can vote. I can't vote, for example. I'm not a US citizen, but I've lived in this country since I was 16 years old, and you better believe I want what's best for my community. So join us in getting out the vote. People who are not eligible to vote can still volunteer to mobilize other voters. So actually, everyone should sign up with that volunteer program. Whether you can vote or you can't, become a Greenpeace volunteer today and help us get out the vote for this election of a lifetime.
Tune in next week to find out what other special guests we'll be featuring during this countdown of the 10 reasons why you need to vote this upcoming election. Let us know in the comments why you're voting this election. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and also follow us on Instagram at Greenpeace USA. And if you want to get involved with the volunteer program, you can click the link over here. Thanks so much for joining us once again.
Chaucito!
Ciao!